Hi everyone, I'm Daisy Rocha and this is what's happening in Brazil. We start by updating you on the latest news from the country. The federal police indicted former President Jair Bolsonaro in the case investigating the appropriation and sale in the United States of million-dollar jewelry gifted by Saudi Arabia. The Attorney General's office will analyze the report and decide whether to denounce the former president to the Supreme Court. According to the federal police, Bolsonaro allegedly committed the crime of embezzlement, that is, taking public property, money laundering, and criminal association. According to a survey released this week, 54% approved of President Lula's work and 43% disapprove. These results indicated that approval has again taken off from disapproval since May, when the percentage were 50% and 47%. Canoa City Hall has announced the opening of registration for the Volta Pra Casa program, aimed for people affected by the flooding that devastated the municipality. In addition to cleaning up affected homes, the program will offer essential household appliances such as fridges and stoves. Beneficiaries will be chosen by the municipal administration based on family income, household composition, and employment status. Last weekend, activists from Popular Youth Uprising held a protest outside the Coca-Cola factory in Curitiba. The motto of the action was Raising Forests, Overthrow Capitalism, addressing the climate crisis and its impact on the lives of young people. They denounced Coca-Cola for being the company that pollutes the environment the most and for being involved in accusations of crimes against indigenous communities and land grabbing. In our story of the week, you will be updated about Vale's crime in Brumadinho in the state of Minas Gerais, more than 5 years after the collapse of a dam belonging to the mining company. Only 6% of the people affected have been compensated.
Vale has compensated only 6% of the people affected by the dam collapse at the Córrego do Feijão mining complex in Brumadinho. That's what was found in a survey by the WHIB Institute and other independent technical consultancies. The organizations estimate that in the entire Paraopeba Basin, the Três Marias Dam and the São Francisco River, there are at least 158,000 people affected by the environmental crime. However, the mining company has informed that only 9,000 people were compensated.
Só que, ao mesmo tempo,
But at the same time, Vale indicated in its official reports that it had compensated around 9,000 people, and this number called our attention. If we compare it, for example, with people who currently receive the cash transfer program called PTR, which is a monthly payment for some people based on criteria that exclude quite a few people since it is a territorial criterion, we can see that there is a big difference. According to the Getúlio Vargas Foundation, which manages this program, it currently benefits about 133,000 people, a figure that does not represent all those affected by the dam burst.
According to Vale, these compensations were paid through a compromise agreement signed in 2019 with the Minas Gerais Public Defender's Office. The mining company rejects the possibility of a collective resolution in which the amounts paid to those affected would be defined jointly.
nesse processo mencionado,
In this process, the justice institutions that represent the people affected, that is, the State Public Prosecutor's Office and the Public Defender's Office, are actively proposing that collective parameters be created so that compensation can be reached more easily and, of course, not be postponed. For this reason, the they have listed a series of individual damages caused by Vale throughout the basin, which should be the damages that will be valued to later compensate each of the affected people who have suffered over the last 5 years.
Joelísia Feitosa is a resident of the town of Juatuba and is the regional coordinator of the movement of people affected by dams. She argues that we need to focus on the issues of those who are actually experiencing the consequences of the disaster.
E principalmente dando voz.
Above all, by giving a voice to the most vulnerable people, since reparations are integral, they must be guaranteed to everybody. However, those who suffer and feel the consequences the most are usually the most vulnerable people. Many are currently unable to fight, without access to healthcare and food. Many people are dying without having a diagnosis. In particular, care must be taken with specificities, with the most vulnerable groups, ethnic, cultural, and traditional groups and issues, and especially with the group that is the largest one, the group that suffers the most and is trying to preserve itself in the struggle, that is, women.
Agrarian reform campers and saddles in Caruaru, home of the biggest São João festival in the world, show their corn crops in the Today's Culture Talk. The corn they produce there is organic and from cryo seeds and feed people during the June festivities. Learn more about this food and the traditional Brazilian festival.
When people asks Mr. B whether he dances forró during the São João festival, he always answers,
No doubt. If I go to a dance hall and don't dance, I'd better stay at home.
Mistress Zefinha guarantees that she doesn't miss a party either.
When I was young, I liked to party. My father wouldn't let me go to parties, but I'd run away. Now I'm old, but I'm not dead. I still like to party. To me, the best party in the world is São João.
But for that to happen, corn has to be harvested. After all, there is no São João without the delicacies made from the grain. Boiled or roasted, served as the basis for canjica, pamonha, and cakes, corn is consumed all year round in the northeastern region of Brazil, but it is during the June festivities that it takes center stage. In Caruaru, agrarian reform settlers and encampers harvest the corn they planted months ago, already preparing for the month of June. In the traditional Normandia settlement, with more than 25 years of history, each family prepares its own typical dish, and the harvest festival also becomes a celebration of sharing.
So the struggle can't just be about difficulties. The work can't just be hard work. We have to fight. We have to organize. We have to do production process, but we need to socialize. We need to make people live happily. The big secret of having a movement like the size of MST, a movement as important as MST is in Brazil and all over the world, is that the people here are happy.
In the Jean Carlos encampment, which celebrated 1 year of existence in April, corn is grown among mandacaru trees, which are surprisingly tall. Gilson says that corn was the first crop to be planted in the area, which has already been inspected by the National Institute for Colonization and Agrarian Reform and is preparing to become a settlement.
Corn is the main agricultural crop. If there is no corn, there is no other crop. It is the first thing we started growing here.
In addition to providing food in abundance for June festivities, corn is also good for human health. It helps prevent vision problems and is a source of zinc and magnesium, which help strengthen the brain. The grain is also rich in fiber, which helps the intestines function properly. All the corn grown by the settlers and encampers in Caruaru is organic and of Creole origin, the oldest type of seed, without genetic modifications.
Eu estou comendo uma coisa saudável.
I'm eating healthy food so that I don't risk contracting a major disease later in life, such as a degenerative problem. You know, the worst problem in the countryside is the fear that we will have a serious illness like cancer or other diseases that affect humans because of the pesticide crops contain. There is nothing here but the power of the soil and the rain, so this is going to be healthy.
According to Embrapa, more than 90% of current corn plantations in Brazil use transgenic seeds, and corn monoculture is one of the crops receiving the most pesticide in the country. For farmers, agribusiness ignores the fact that corn, as well as being an extremely rich food, is part of the culture and identity of the Brazilian people.
Corn is a kind of food. It is part of all peasant cultures all over the world. Wherever we go in the world, corn has a great meaning as a symbol because it's from it that people feed themselves and organize themselves. Agribusiness and the greed of capital are trying to take this away from peasants through transgenics, with a series of modified seeds that don't allow the seed to reproduce. And we've resisted, we've made sure that our seed is preserved.
Do you like the show? So hit the like button and share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to receive notifications. We'll see you next week.